Excuse me, I'm trying to drink some coffee here this morning, get started. But my last video was a comparison between the Philippines and the USA since I'm currently visiting the US. So I kind of did that and some things I've seen here, comparing that to prices and living comparisons there in Philippines, particularly the Longapo area of the Philippines on Luzon. This one I want to talk a little bit about since I had a subscriber kind of want me to talk about it is medical, and that was on my list to do. I was going to do a kind of a similar video as my last one, but mainly talking about military and concentrating on the Longapo, Zambales area of the Philippines. And like that subscriber said, find a lot of stuff on, I guess, Angeles and Manila, but not so much for the Subic Bay area. I can only talk about my personal experience for the Longpo area and talking to other veterans. And I would not recommend, unless it's emergency, using any place in the Longapo area. That's just me. I mean, I tried. I thought Bay Point would be good, and I tried that. I've stayed away from Gordon. I know they got a new hospital there as you go into Barreto, but for me, I just haven't. Like I said, Bay Point. My problem with Bay Point is I've known people that go there, and they've had misdiagnosis and other things. And when I've personally gone there, then what has happened was you go in. They do have a Tricare rep. Let me just say that it's really an insurance rep, kind of like they have at Clark. But you go in, you go see the insurance person first at Bay Point, and then you go, you have an appointment, you go to see the doctor, whatever the doctor is, whether it's a family doctor or a specialty doctor. And then after your appointment, then you go back and see the Tricare lady, and then they will go ahead and usually do the claim for you. If you have a copay, they'll have you pay your copay. But my problem there is it's kind of chaotic in that office, for one, just like Bay Point is in general. You go and you wait for your appointment. You could be in there hours and hours waiting, and there's just so many people. It is a public hospital, but there's just so many people. So I do not prefer that there. I did have some emergency treatment there a couple years ago for my head as a head wound, and I went into ER and they stitched me up, and went back I don't know, a few weeks later, whatever it was, and got the stitches removed. That worked pretty well doing that. But as far as a regular a regular medical appointment, I do not advise it unless you just got time to kill and you're very patient. I'm not that patient. But I prefer going to Clark because for me, I can drive from SBMA up to Clark, to Clark Medical City. It's about 45 minutes, 50 max there, as it's, 5-10 minutes before you get actually, if you go in that way, into Angeles. So I go there, I drive up, and it's really a different situation at Clark. You go in, they have a insurance lady again. You go in, she has you, gives you a paper. And then once you get that paper, you go to whatever clinic you're going to see or doctor, and you go and present that to the secretary of the doctor. Then when you're done, you don't have to do anything. They file the paperwork for you, the doctor, back with Tricare or whoever. So that's kind of the way that works. If you have a copay, I think normally when we've gone, it's been $20, $30, depends on where you go, there at Clark. You pay that, and then everything else, no matter what the amount is, they go ahead and file the claim. You don't have to worry about it. When I have had to pay out of pocket because the doctor did not pay Tricare, I filed a claim. I could do it through the insurance people there at Clark, or I've done it one myself. It takes 3 to 4 months to get your money back, but I have been paid back. They do direct deposit, so it goes right in your bank account. So that's a good thing. And when you're going to wait for a doctor at Clark versus Alongapo, Bay Point, I'm just using those as a reference. It's not near as chaotic at Clark. I go most of the time. I try to get there a little early. I have to get there early before my appointment to see the insurance people or the lady, and then I get that done, and I still try to be up there maybe 15, 20 minutes early, and then the doctor is usually late. That's just the way it is. Doctors run anywhere from, I haven't seen one that's been on time, normally 10 to 30 minutes late is what the standard is at Clark. So, but once I get in there, I've always been usually not first, but second to third person in. Each patient's in there maybe 15 minutes, maybe less, depends on what it is. I've seen anywhere from 10 to 20, 30 minutes. But I normally, if I have an appointment, we'll say at 10 o'clock. My appointment's at 10. I'm already out of there before 11. And what I do, I try to get a 9 o'clock appointment, because when I do that, then if I'm done by 10 or so, I can go into Angeles, go somewhere like the American Legion, VFW, some other place, and have, Tequila Reef, wherever it is, and have some breakfast, and then head back to Subic Bay. So that's kind of my preference, what I've seen, but it's far more organized than what I've had to deal with in Olongapo. I know we've gone to, I took my daughter to dentist appointments in Olongapo. I've taken her in Barreto, and it's been pretty good. Most of those I paid out of pocket. I found out recently I have some dental coverage I can use, but when I paid out of pocket, unless it's something major, it's always $20 to $30 is what I'm paying for a cleaning or whatever it is. So it's not very expensive at all. And I've had good service. One I can highly recommend is Dr. Barrera in Barreto. And, there's some others. But, dental, I've had pretty good care in the Philippines and the Longapo area in general. My daughter had her braces done there, and far cheaper than, of course, it is in the U.S. Maybe less than $2,000 compared to $5,000 with insurance before I moved to the Philippines. So it's far cheaper there. But getting back to the medical, the only places I would recommend, from talking to other veterans and my own experience, would be one of the St. Luke's in Manila. I know they have one in Quezon City. They have one in BGC. They have the main St. Luke's. And so there's multiple options there for St. Luke's. And I don't know if it's the same way. The U.S. Embassy used to send their people, or people going for visas to the U.S., they sent them to St. Luke's as well. So that was their pick. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's the case anymore, but that's what it was. So St. Luke's or Clark Medical. Clark Medical, if you're in Olongapo, it just makes sense. It's easier. Like I said, if you want to go, by the time you go wait in Bay Point or Gordon Hospital or some of these places trying to go and get care, you could have already driven to Clark, do a turnaround, and come right back going to Clark Medical City. So that's just what I recommend. And I can go further in this another time. I'm just kind of doing, from my own personal standpoint, what I know and what I've used. I know I went recently here in Tampa, Florida, and I learned something. I was looking forward to coming back, going to the VA, and I know it's easier to get, medication, things like that here. You have a big VA center here in northern Tampa. I noticed there's one in Gainesville as I was traveling north to Destin as well. But the one in Tampa is nice, but it is the VA. A lot going on. And for me to just get medication to go to the ER, I wasn't willing to wait as long as I was going to have to wait. So I ended up just using my Tricare and going to a different facility. And what I learned was, instead of going to the main base, which is MacDill Air Force Base, Okay, I decided I called for an appointment to see when I could get one, and it wasn't in the time I was going to be here. It was well over a month. So they recommended, because I told them where I was staying, and it's kind of East Brandon area suburb, and they said they had a clinic in Brandon, and it was only 12 minutes from where I was staying. So I was like, really? And then come to find out, it's Tricare, and it's run by the Sixth Medical Group at McDill. And then also there's the VA. There's a VA clinic there too. So you don't even need to go to the VA. You just schedule your appointment there. So for my area where I'm staying, that was great. So I did make an appointment uh, for my wife and we went. It was got checked in. They updated our deers, all that kind of stuff, and we waited around not too long. They took us right past our appointment time. Um, went in. They talked to us. I'd printed out my last physical, my, my medications I was taking, and they refilled everything. I took care of my wife as well, and then I even have my daughter appointment coming up. So it was really, really good. When we got done, they called the pharmacies right there too, sent the medication right to the pharmacy there, and I had that filled. And then they told me when I take my daughter in, that's before we leave the area, to come back. They want to know how the medication's working I'm taking, and also if I need anything else. So I was really, really impressed, and I didn't have to go. I mean, to go down to McDill, it's way down in Tampa, downtown, kind of, and it's actually further south than that. And it takes a while, heavy traffic. So instead of driving an hour traffic, all that, I drove 12 minutes on back roads, and I was there, and it was easy. And because I used TRICARE, I didn't pay anything because I had two options. I called. I said, can I go off base because of TRICARE overseas? And he said, you can, but you have to fill out a claim. You'll get reimbursed. But if you just want to go on base, and they looked it up, they said, yeah, they're taking retirees and stuff. So if you go there, then, there's no charge, just like it's always been. So that was good. So when I went to this Sixth Medical Group facility, it was the same. And so it didn't cost me anything. And when I saw that they had a VA clinic, small one, that I didn't need to drive up to the VA, which is about 25, 30 minutes north of me, and go through all that rigmarole of the ER. I just went right there. So, or I could go there, I should say. And so that was two options I had. So if you're in the East Tampa area, we'll say Brandon, Seffner, some of those places, even out toward Lakeland, Plant City, that would be a good option to go versus going down to the big base, the big Air Force base. So that's kind of what I found here. And comparing that to what I've been doing in the Philippines, night and day difference, which you would expect. I have gotten good care. They have, Clark's got a couple good cardiologists. They have good dermatologists there, good family doctors there. So I really can't complain with a lot of care I've gotten with Clark. But we have to make an appointment at Clark, even though it's a walk-in basis, and over there it's a window. At Clark, any doctor you go to in the Philippines, they have a window. So they have maybe 9 to 12, 8 to 11 in the morning, 1 to 4 in the afternoon, like that. First come, first serve, but it's still best to make an appointment so the secretary knows you're coming. So doctor, because a lot of times doctor has not enough patients or no patients. I mean, they're going to multiple hospitals. They may even come from Manila. They're not going to waste their time to come there. So they like to know who's coming, if you can. So that's what I recommend. Even though it's first come, first serve, make sure you call the secretary, whatever doctor it is, and make that happen, okay? So that's another thing I forgot to mention earlier. I want to put that in there. As far as over here, I made an appointment. Like I said, they took me a couple minutes after my appointment time, and everything was good. So those, I want to point out some differences again, kind of like I did with the living comparison, and what currently is happening here, at least this part of the U.S., compared to what's happening in the Philippines. Like I said, if you have any questions, shoot them my way. I'm trying to remember a lot of stuff, but I didn't make any notes or anything. This is just top of my head stuff that I know that I've personally done. But if I can elaborate more on a question you have, I'll do my best to answer it. I'm not a professional on this stuff. I'm just giving it to you from my own experience. Hopefully it helps you. And I always appreciate you watching. I'm trying to do more videos like this. I know I like to do walk and talk videos, but over here, like I said, there's not a lot of Filipino stuff to concentrate on. There is at least one place I'm going to try to get to here soon, very soon, and I'll put that out. But I figure some of these videos I've been wanting to do, now's a good time to do it, especially since I've been living in the Philippines for 4 years, and then coming back here and seeing what's happening here. It just kind of, if you're trying to decide whether you want to move to the Philippines or you want to move or stay in the U.S. or where you want to retire, all I will say is, if you have a medical problem and it's not like emergency where you got to go get treatment right then, I would book a seat on a plane, come back to the U.S. or your home country, go right back, and that's what I'd personally do, and I would not even mess around over there. But if sometimes you can't help it and you have to go, so I'm giving you your best options. But that's kind of what I want to throw out there. Again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, if you enjoy my video. I'm just trying to pass on information. Most of my videos, I try to give something out there, to hopefully, whether it's a new place, a new restaurant, something else. I try to put information out there versus just showing. I hate doing the same things day in, day out. I've seen that. I don't want to really do that. Sometimes, you might not have an option, but I want to give as much information as possible. Again, take care, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.